Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melee Via. I'm up here at Immortals Inc. with Mikey today.
What is going on today, John? Unfortunately, this is the only time you will see me on this podcast as our camera and memory cards were severely outdated. Thank you for understanding. Let's get the show on the road, John.
Well, today I thought we would look back on all the wonderful times we've spent together.
I know, because, when we look
Clip
back
show! No, actually, we're going to talk about a life well lived from Cubicle 7.
That got me, okay? And that got you. So...
A Life Well Lived is a fairly new source book that Cubicle 7 came out with that is all about expanding your character's backstory and maybe their downtime story as well.
Ooh, lore.
Maybe sometimes, but there's a lot of other options here.
Okay.
Alex Cahill is the producer on this book. There was a pretty big team at Cubicle 7 who worked on this as well. He worked on Uncharted Journeys that we talked about, which was kind of, adapting the journey system that Cubicle 7 had created for their Middle-earth roleplay and for their version of a One Ring into D&D 5th edition. This basically does the same thing for kind of the life path system or the character backstory, adapting that again into D&D 5th edition. So there's strong Middle-earth roleplay influence here. This was an October 2023 Kickstarter. They had about 2,000 backers, raised around 87,000 euros for it. And remarkable for Kickstarter, they did deliver the product on time. So yay team there.
Nice.
First chapter of this book dives right into the life path system. It's about 38 pages. Replaces the backgrounds and races with lineages and life paths. So if you're making up your D&D character, that initial stage of choosing your race and your background, it's going to be a little bit different. It moves the attribute bonuses into later stages. Your origins kind of give you astrological traits.
Oh, astrology fans unite.
A little bit. And then you get your family background, your childhood locale, and your attribute traits in a later stage as you move through things. So that family background and where you grew up, that's going to be the thing that might adjust your attribute rather than what species you come from. As you hit adolescence, you develop skills, right? Basically the things you were doing during your high school era age are going to reveal what skills your characters have aptitudes for. And then the life lessons, those challenges that your character got through, those are again going to give attribute bonuses because of the fact you overcame them or at least survived them.
Adversity.
Right? There you go. And then a defining event sets up an occupation for your characters, and that occupation that they have at this early stage gives you access to a set of tools, more skills, and an initial income. You can add some quirks, which have an actual mechanical effect, and when you get to make your class choice, you then add an attribute bonus as well. At this point, you're also going to set up some personality traits and some goals, and those are going to kind of have XP awards that your characters can earn as they achieve those goals, or when you as a player, use those personality traits, possibly to your character's disadvantage. The next chapter on that is Campcraft, and this allows your characters to set up bonds between the different characters, and those can give situational bonus dice. And it also introduces extended tests and gives you some extra skill uses for when you're setting up a camp. And when you use those skills and make checks on them, you can get some clear benefits to what happens when your characters are camping, usually during the course of a journey or an expedition. After that, we have a downtime section. So what happens to your characters in between their adventures? This is about 39 pages, and it gives you just different activities for the PCs to undertake. They can generate income, they can build contacts, basically just a whole range of different things they can do. I did say it's about 39 pages, and there's between 2 and 4 of them for every page. So there's a lot of different options for these kinds of things the characters might choose to do in between adventures, and this might be just the way they blow the cash that they found when they were digging through a dungeon.
Exactly.
After that, there is a place to call home. This is a 14-page chapter, and it's about constructing a base of operations for your characters. There's different features that you can have, and each of those features can have mechanical benefits. So like if the characters decide to put in a library, they're going to have benefits when they're doing research or maybe working on spells. They might put in an alchemical facility or an armory, or maybe they just, want a bank vault to have things really secure for them. All these different options have different costs and different construction times, but they do give game benefits for the characters. There's also a local events chart that can really kind of bring the area where the characters set their base of operations in up to life, right? So maybe there are particular holidays or festivals or what have you that happen as the calendar year progresses. And with that chart of events, you're kind of tying things in so that you can have some stuff that the characters might even want to role play through when they're in their downtime between adventures.
Do people ever do that in real time, or do they usually?
Absolutely. Yeah, that can definitely be a thing that comes up when you're sitting around the table and you go, yeah, my characters are going to do this fun, not really adventuring thing, but it might lead into an adventure depending on how it goes.
Nice.
And who they interact with. After that, there's a 14-page chapter called Who Pulls the Strings? And this is about setting up a patron for your characters. So maybe they aren't just people who, pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and managed to find their fortune, but maybe somebody's dad gave them money to go adventuring, or, a rich uncle or a noble or what have you said, hey, kid, I think you got some potential. Here's a few bucks. I need you to do this thing for me. And I'll even give you a cut of the profits. Different patrons are going to have different motivations. They might be religious. They might just be financial. They might be revenge or criminal or what have you. Looking at each of these different options can provide a cool framework for setting up the party. And maybe if different members of the party have different patrons, they might come to blows because of that as a campaign progresses.
Might be a sugar mom.
Could absolutely be. And different patrons have different personality traits and can help or hinder the characters in different ways as the campaign goes. Last section of the book is called Hanging Up Your Sword. 9-page section talks about retiring when they're finally too old for this anymore.
Wow.
Right?
And how grateful do you have to be to get to that stage?
Of course, right? They've made their fortune. And then what might they do? Are they going to be the archetypical character who hit top level and said, now I'm going to open up a tavern? That's where it all starts out and where it all ends. But you never really get back out, right?
Yeah, it never
And sometimes you get pulled back in. And so a section of the retirement chapter is getting the band back together when they need to go on just that one last adventure to clear strings up, maybe take care of their kids or their grandkids or who knows what.
The adventure with the most wrinkles, for sure.
Exactly. And so that's the final section of the book. Covers the last part of that life well lived. Gives you a whole lot of other perspectives on different ways you could run the campaign and expanding the scope of your campaign. We've got some copies of this up here at Immortals Inc. or available at immortalsinc.com. It is a hardcover book. It is a full color book. It's from Cubicle 7. It's $40. It's got some really cool layout elements worth taking a look at. If this sounds like something that's up your alley and might be useful for expanding your campaign, stop in and take a look.
Looks great. Cubicle 7 always delivers. Well said, John. See you guys next time. Go ahead and enjoy.
Till next time, folks. Good gaming.